And this is the biggest opportunity of my life. I really hope to win the show.
She walked barefoot into the spotlight, but few knew what that truly meant. From the moment Angelina Jordan stepped onto the stage of Norway's Got Talent at just 7 years old, barefoot and singing Billie Holiday with haunting depth, the world was stunned. But her lack of shoes wasn't some quirky stunt. It was a quiet protest, a tribute to a child she met in the Middle East who had no shoes and no family. That small act of compassion became her signature, a symbol of empathy. Yet behind this powerful message, controversy began to brew. Some praised her for her humanity, others whispered that this was all just brilliant marketing, crafted to make a child seem mature beyond her years. Was Angelina really in control of her own image, or had the industry turned her into a viral product? As her fan base exploded worldwide, so did the expectations on her tiny shoulders. And those bare feet, they began to carry a weight no child should have to bear. By 10 years old, she was already burning out, but no one dared say it aloud. While most kids were learning multiplication, Angelina was learning how to handle fame. Her calendar was packed with international performances, interviews, and press runs. To the world, she glided through it with grace. But according to those close to her, there were moments of emotional exhaustion that never made the headlines. Imagine being a child with the voice of a grown woman and the responsibility to match. There were signs she was overwhelmed. She began disappearing from social media, taking long breaks from appearances, and rumors started swirling that she considered stepping away from music altogether around age 11. But in the showbiz world, stepping back is rarely an option when you're the breadwinner in your teens. Fans didn't see the fatigue, only the next big performance. Her parents tried to protect her, but even their shields couldn't stop the pressure from the global stage she was thrown into. Fame had come fast, and it came with a silent cost. The industry didn't know what to do with her, so they turned her away. Despite the millions of views and viral performances, when Angelina tried to break into the American music market, the doors didn't swing open. In fact, some were slammed shut. Several mainstream record labels reportedly passed on her, not because she lacked talent, but because they didn't know how to sell her. One executive allegedly remarked, "She's too jazz for top 40, too classic for Gen Z. The industry, always craving a trend, found her authenticity too risky." She wasn't the auto-tune pop princess they were used to. She was a raw jazz vocalist in an era of TikTok beats. Trapped between indie credibility and commercial inaccessibility, Angelina found herself without a clear lane. As her peers charted hits with cookie-cutter sounds, she was left wondering if being different was a curse. The silence from labels wasn't just rejection, it was a wake-up call that the industry might not be built for someone like her. They called her a cover singer, and it nearly broke her. Despite pouring her soul into every rendition, critics were quick to slap a dismissive label on Angelina, just another cover artist. The title strung. Yes, she gained fame covering jazz classics, but it wasn't mimicry, it was reimagination. Still, the digital world can be cruel. Comments piled up. When will she do something original? Determined to silence doubters, she began releasing original tracks like Million Miles and Love Don't Let Me Go. They were heartfelt, raw, and revealed her songwriting prowess. But they didn't explode like her covers. The views were modest, the charts remained untouched, and behind the scenes, sources say she questioned if she'd ever be accepted for her own words. It's one thing to be ignored, it's another to be reduced. That label, cover artist, followed her like a shadow. No matter how far she ran from it, it clung to her voice, undermining her every original note. Hollywood courted her, then vanished. After her dazzling appearance on America's Got Talent, The Champions, where Simon Cowell himself called her performance one of the best he'd ever seen, the buzz was deafening. Agents, producers, and executives lined up to meet her. Whispers circulated of record deals, major collaborations, and even film opportunities. But then silence. Months passed. No album, no tour, no breakthrough project. Insiders suggest that internal management issues and broken promises stalled her momentum. One deal allegedly collapsed over creative control. Angelina refused to be turned into a pop puppet. Others claim her image didn't test well with mainstream audiences who preferred flashy pop to introspective jazz. Whatever the reason, Hollywood's red carpet quickly rolled itself back up. Angelina disappeared from the spotlight for nearly a year, and fans were left confused, even worried. Had she walked away, or had the industry pushed her out without a sound? Everyone expected perfection, but she was quietly falling apart. Angelina Jordan had become a global icon of grace and poise, but few realized that this image came at a cost. Behind the flawless vocals and serene expressions was a teenager grappling with impossible expectations. Fans idolized her as a once-in-a-generation talent, while the industry saw her as a marketable product, one that needed to remain mysterious, mature, and magical at all times. But she was still a teenager, dealing with school, growing pains, and an identity that often felt out of sync with her public persona. Sources close to her suggest that she faced moments of deep emotional strain, unsure of who she really was beyond the applause. There were whispers of breakdowns, moments where she questioned whether she even wanted to sing anymore. Social media breaks became longer, interviews grew more filtered, and the spark in her eyes seemed dimmed. One insider claimed she once said, "They love the voice, but I don't think they see me." The cost of fame wasn't just time or privacy, it was the erosion of her sense of self. She came back, but it didn't feel like the same girl. In 2023, Angelina returned to the public eye, but something had changed. Her performances were more somber, her energy more restrained, gone with a childlike wonder and open vulnerability. In their place stood a young woman who had seen too much too soon. Her musical style began to evolve, melding pop, soul, and jazz into a more experimental blend, but the shift wasn't universally embraced. Longtime fans were divided. Some praised the evolution, others wondered if she was being forced to change. More telling was her demeanor. She smiled less, avoided interviews, and often looked pensive on stage. Viewers commented, "She doesn't look happy anymore," and speculated that the joy had been drained from her artistry. Was this the natural maturation of a young artist, or a sign of someone pushing through the motions while carrying invisible scars? Her comeback should have been a triumph, but instead, it raised more questions than answers. Live shows returned, but something felt stripped. Throughout 2024 and into 2025, Angelina began performing again, this time across intimate venues in Europe. Fans noticed a drastic shift in style. There were no grand entrances, no glitzy productions, just her, barefoot as always, in dim lighting with minimalist staging. The setlists leaned into darker themes, and her voice, though still mesmerizing, carried a weight that felt heavier than before. Backstage photos showed her alone more often, rarely interacting with the media. Some close observers speculated that she had changed her management team and was trying to reclaim her autonomy. Yet, despite these live shows, no new full album has surfaced. There are whispers of behind-the-scenes battles over creative direction. Is she quietly crafting something groundbreaking, or is she stuck in a cycle of rebuilding her image piece by piece? Her recent interviews are guarded, her lyrics more cryptic. One thing's clear, this Angelina, she built her career on silence and softness, but now, silence was turning into suspicion. Angelina's long periods of inactivity, sometimes going months without releasing music or speaking publicly, have left fans confused and increasingly skeptical. In an era where artists constantly update their audience with social media teasers, live Q&As, and influencer collaborations, Angelina's radio silence stands out. Some admire her for not conforming. Others wonder if there's something deeper going on, conflicts with her label, personal health issues, or burnout. Theories have spread online. Has she been silenced by industry politics? Is she dealing with anxiety or depression? While there is no public confirmation of any such issues, her absence only fuels the speculation. Journalists have reached out for clarity, but her team remains tight-lipped. One music analyst noted, "She's a ghost in a world of overexposure." For an artist known for depth, the lack of transparency is both intriguing and worrying. And in a cruel twist, the mystery that once made her magnetic is now the very thing that keeps her at a distance. She survived the spotlight, but is she still standing in the storm? Now in 2025, Angelina Jordan's story stands as one of both triumph and turbulence. She defied the odds to rise from a quiet Norwegian stage to the global spotlight, carrying nothing but her voice and a message of compassion. But the path wasn't paved with applause alone. From industry rejection and creative suppression to emotional strain and media silence, she's endured more than most artists twice her age. Her current trajectory remains uncertain. New music is whispered about but still unreleased. Her live shows, though powerful, are rare. Fans remain loyal but curious. Is this the calm before a bold reinvention, or is she simply trying to heal in private? As one fan posted recently, maybe she's not lost, maybe she's just finally living for herself. Whatever comes next, one thing is clear. Behind the angelic voice is a young woman who has weathered storms the world never saw, and somehow she's still here.